If you're an author, a blogger, or a writer, and you're looking for a content management system that is going to be able to scale and really help you grow your audience and engage with your site visitors, give Squarespace a look. Squarespace has some really powerful built-in blogging capabilities, and today I'm going to show you some of those. All right, let's jump right in. So we are looking here at a Squarespace blog page. This is version 7.1 on the Fluid Engine editor. Just to take it a step back, Squarespace, with the latest release of Fluid Engine, didn't make a ton of updates to the blogging capabilities, in the sense that the editor is still essentially using version 7.0 with a couple of minor considerations. So the first one being what you see here as the heading, Stephen Hawley blog, and the ability to add sections above the blog posts on your main blog page. So you can, and I'll show you how this looks, you can actually hover over this main content area on your blog page and click add section, and you can stack multiple sections one on top of the other on top of your blog page, whereas before you didn't have the option to do that. So that is huge. As we can see here, I was able to add a blog title and then also a search functionality and 2 archive blocks to be able to filter by tag and category for every one of my blog posts. Okay, but that's not what we're talking about today. We are going to discuss some of the main features that are powerful in pushing out your content to your audience. So let's go ahead and jump into the Manage Posts section. So again, we are on the blog page and we're hovering over the blog content area and clicking Manage Posts. So if I jump into the settings of my blog post, and I just chose this one called Ava's Wild, we're able to set a thumbnail image, which is pretty consistent across all content management systems for adding blogs. Squarespace does a really great job of showcasing really beautiful and elegant images. No different here on the blog page. So we upload our image. That's the first step. And then you can showcase an excerpt, which will display on the blog homepage. And so we've just selected something that's short and sweet, 2 sentences, so it's not going to get cut off when your site visitor is landing on that blog homepage. You're able to set the post URL. This is helpful for SEO. So if you really want to hone in on keywords that are relevant to the blog post, you can change that post URL as you see fit. By default, Squarespace creates a post URL based on the title of the blog post. If you have multiple authors on your blog page or your website, you can select the authors from the drop down here, and those will display as the author tagged along the blog post when they land on that page. Okay, so that's the content section. The next is our options. So what options do we have as a blogger on Squarespace? Well, the first one is that we can set a status for our blog posts. So by default, this is always selected as draft, and you have to manually publish it. So this one's already published, so that's why the published is selected. But if you want to save it as a draft, if you want to create multiple different blog posts, say that you are in a writer's flow, for example, and you really want to just crank out 5 blog posts on a Friday morning, and that's your routine and your ritual, this is a really great feature to save as draft. The other one is if you just have a singular blog post and it's really long and detailed, you're trying to make it perfect, you're trying to make it engaging, perhaps you're adding lead magnets such as sign up for my newsletter or purchase my book or get in touch, then the draft feature could also be useful because you don't have to get it all done in one go. Meaning Squarespace will never publish your blog post until you manually click publish. Needs review is another neat feature if you have multiple folks on your team that you need to pass around the blog post to before you take it live. Maybe you're a nonprofit who posts regularly, but you've got a team of editors that need to review it and sign off before it goes live. Then you can select that as needs review. Publish, self-explanatory, automatically publish the second you click it. Scheduled is really cool. So the scheduled feature allows you to select a date as far out in advance as you want and a specific time. So this could be useful for bloggers, for authors. Say, for example, you have done your research on your audience and you know that they like to read your material on Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Well, you can set that date and the Squarespace system will automatically push that out on Thursday at 9 a.m. So some really great options feature under the blog post settings. The next section we're going to jump into here is SEO, search engine optimization. Allows you to improve your ranking and search results. Blogging is massive in the world of search engine optimization. If you are a new business, a writer who's creating your website for your first time, a blogger who's planning on consistently posting, SEO is really going to help improve the likelihood that Google, Bing, Yahoo are going to display your content in a search results page. Google likes fresh content. So the more that you can blog post, the more that you can focus in on the keywords and phrases that your site visitors are using and searching, the more likelihood you as an author, you as a writer or blogger are going to be on the first page of Google. So there's a bunch of really great built-in options for SEO, both for blog posts and for multiple other settings within your website, search engine descriptions, page descriptions, URLs. The ability to really customize and control those, I think, is one of the things that sets Squarespace apart. And as you can see, another feature that's built in is that when you create your blog post, Squarespace is automatically going to give you a preview here. It's going to automatically add the title of the blog post, and this can be configured and set up as you see fit as well. In this case, Ava's Wild is the title of the blog post, followed by Stephen Hawley, which is the name of the website. And in this case, we're also able to add an SEO description. So the SEO description should be short and sweet. You should keep it to 250 characters, have it keyword rich and focused on the content of the article. SEO title, Ava's Wild is pulled automatically, but if you wanted to change this, you can see in the preview, it changes there as well. Awesome. So that's a few really cool tools to utilize on the SEO tab. Now let's go into the social image. So the social image is what pulls in if you're going to push your content to social media platforms like Facebook or Twitter. Now this can be set separately for this specific blog post. So since this is about Ava's Wild Salmon, we actually pulled in their logo. And now this is going to display on your Facebook post. And this comes in handy for the share feature. And every time you post a blog on Squarespace, if you connect your accounts to Facebook, Twitter, you are able to automatically push that new content directly to Facebook. When you push that content, it will create a post within your Facebook page. So 2 birds, 1 stone. Now you're broadcasting your new content across your social media channels. You're building more engagement. You're building more of your own personal brand by showcasing your writing. And you're also gaining search engine optimization juice that is then in turn going to drive more visitors to your website and get folks engaging with your content and taking the actions that you want them to. So that's the share feature. If you want, you can also create an email draft. And the email draft creates a Squarespace email campaign directly within the Squarespace editor. So this could be useful if you're using Squarespace email campaigns in tandem with regular blogging. You can create and publish a blog post and then immediately go to the share tab under your blog post settings and click Create Email Draft. Awesome. So now it's notifying us that the email draft was created. Basically, this is going to throw in your blog post directly into a Squarespace email campaign where you then can add more lead magnets, calls to action, more images, media, video, photos, more engagement, create a nice, beautiful, rich newsletter, and then post that out to your audience, letting them know. Let's say, for example, if you have 500 newsletter subscribers, they're all going to see your new blog post. So engagement, this is huge. So the share function there in the blog post settings is a great tool. Location, this could be useful for if you're geo-specific. So you can add in your business, your city, state, and zip, and your country. Okay, awesome. So we took a look at the blog post settings. Now let's take a closer look at the on-page features. So Squarespace allows you to click Edit Section while you're hovering over the blog page. In the format, you can choose between the basic grid, which is what we see here. Under the basic grid, you're able to set the number of columns. I've got it as 3 since there's around 14 posts. If you want to up that to 4, you can see how that changes dynamically. You can set the horizontal spacing between blog post titles, the vertical spacing, set the images to display above or below. And again, these are all built-in features with Squarespace with the blogging capabilities. I think they're pretty darn top-notch in terms of comparing them to other blogging platforms. You don't have to pay anything extra for all of these bells and whistles. Text alignment, excerpt, read more link. I've got these all selected. The excerpt is showing. If you want to display the read more link, select that setting. Then you can adjust the font, the weight, and the color of this. So if you wanted this to be like our orange, you could set that within your site styles. Content width, spacing, different tags or categories that you would want to display, all that good stuff. So that's the basic grid blog. There's also the side-by-side blog, the masonry blog, which is just going to take the size of the thumbnail image into account as it displays this in a masonry fashion. So that's kind of cool. And then the last one being alternating side-by-side blog. So a ton of really cool options for display. And then here, depending on what format you've selected, you can actually set the aspect ratio of the thumbnail images as well. Okay, so now we're back to our basic grid blog with 3 columns. Let's go ahead and jump into an actual post. Let's see what this one looks like. Okay, so when we click edit, we are able to edit a lot of different areas within this blog post. So the content width is currently set as medium. This is just the container width, how wide it spans across the page. As you can see, when we set it to wide or custom, it changes dynamically. The blog posts are made up of these little insert points, and just like anywhere else on your Squarespace website, you're able to add blocks. So for example, if you click anywhere on these plus icons, the full block menu is pulled up. This could be useful if you want to add videos to your blog post, if you want to pull in multiple different images into a summary block where you display like a slideshow of different images or a grid of images, so on and so forth. It could also be useful if, for example, you want to add a call to action. So I always recommend writers, authors, bloggers to add some sort of lead magnet call to action. The first thing being create a lead magnet. So create some sort of newsletter to where you can send out an automation when somebody signs up saying, hey, thanks for joining my newsletter. You'll be able to see me a couple times a month or once a month. I'll be writing about XYZ. And then offer some sort of incentive for signing up. So maybe that's a mat, maybe that's a discount on a book, maybe that's secret access to a chapter within a new piece of writing, something that's going to be a thank you. And that can be automated within Squarespace email campaigns as well. But if we jump back down here and click the plus icon, it pulls up our block menu just like before, and we type in newsletter, we can see that we're able to add a dynamic newsletter here as well to the bottom of every single blog post. So now when they read our blog, if they came to us organically through search or referral through social media, but they're not signed up for our newsletter, at the end of this blog post, and every blog post, I would recommend this for writers, is to add some sort of lead magnet. If it's not a lead magnet, you're more focused on wanting to direct your site visitors to take an action, you can add a button block, which can be done here. And the button block could be buy the book if you're an author. So a couple different ways to add a more dynamic engagement to a blog post. Another cool feature of Squarespace blogging is you can add image captions right after you've added the image directly here. So this actually kind of looks like what you would experience if you were to read an e-zine. And then down here, you can customize how this appears as well. But these arrows take you back and forward to the last and next blog post within the series. Okay, so I'm going to wrap that up for today. There are a few more tips and tricks to blogging on Squarespace. I'd be happy to chat about those if you guys have any questions. If you're an author, if you're a writer, if you're a blogger, and you're looking for a platform to support your writing long-term, Squarespace is a great option. They have plans that start at $16 a month for the personal plan. I think $23 a month for business. And that gives you access to everything you've seen here and a million other features and functionality that are all baked into every single plan on Squarespace, meaning there's no ticky-tacky add-on fees. All said, if you sign up for Squarespace on an annual plan, you can get a full annual subscription that gives you access to everything under the hood of Squarespace for a full year and a custom domain. So, travisvance.com if I'm a blogger. And to top that off, also a custom email address through Google Workspace, info@travisvance.com. All three of those, paid website subscription, custom domain, custom Google Workspace account, for like a little less than $220 for the full year. That's incredible. Year 2 is going to be the full cost for the website subscription. And then you're going to be charged $20 for a domain, and I think it's like $60 a year for a Google custom workspace email address. So I'm rambling on a little bit here, but if anybody's watching, I wanted to really focus in on writers, bloggers, and authors because I think it's such a great platform for you all. I have worked with several here in Oregon and throughout the US. I was a former Squarespace employee for 7.5 years. I worked directly in the account management realm, e-commerce, supporting SMBs, entrepreneurs, and then all the way up to Fortune 50 companies. I now own and operate Coyote Moon, where a large chunk of my client base is authors. And so I have a unique perspective on how to really leverage social media, personal brand, email marketing, a website to really take your writing to the next level and spread it across multiple channels for more engagement. So give me a call if you have any questions. 541-280-5764. My email is travis@coyotemooncreative.com, and I can be found for my services and portfolio at my website, coyotemooncreative.com. All right, thanks so much. Be on the lookout for more tips and tricks for authors. Thanks.